Today I want to talk about a part of grief that many people don't talk about, okay? When someone loses a loved one, there is usually an outpouring of support. Family comes from all over, friends stop by, people travel from different states and sometimes even different countries just to pay their respects and show their love. People bring food because they understand that the family is hurting and doesn't have the energy to think about cooking. They bring Popeye's chicken, collard greens, green beans, pound cake, peach cobbler, banana bread, biscuits, turkey wings, and all the food that reminds us of comfort, community, and love, okay? Some people clean your house, some sit with you and pray, some help you make arrangements, others simply show up and remind you that you're not alone. And all of that is beautiful. It is truly a blessing to experience that kind of support during one of the most difficult times in your life. But then the funeral comes, the casket closes, the service ends, the burial is complete, and everybody goes home. They go back to work, they go back to their families, they go back to their responsibilities, okay? Life starts moving again for them. But for the person who just lost their loved one, life can feel like it has completely stopped, halted, stuck, stagnant, stalemate, done. Poof, finito. Nothing else is transpiring right now. But now they're going home to their house that feels different, a house that may be too quiet, a house that no longer feels the same. They're looking for an empty chair. They're looking at an empty chair. They're looking at an empty chair. They're missing a familiar voice. They're missing the presence of someone they deeply loved. And when the day is over and nighttime comes, that's often when grief becomes even louder. All that silence is null and void, okay? The visitors are gone. The phone isn't ringing as much. The food deliveries have stopped. The distractions have disappeared. But now it's time. Now it's just them and their grief. Sometimes they can't sleep. Sometimes, they leave the lights on because the darkness feels overwhelming. It's like the boogeyman's coming or something. Sometimes they lie awake staring at the ceiling, wondering how they're supposed to make it through tomorrow. What is it like for their loved one on the other side? Sometimes they cry. Sometimes they don't cry at all. Sometimes they're completely numb. Can't feel nothing, can't hear nothing, can't even remember things. Everything just all of a sudden is like you're absent-minded. Sometimes they're angry, sometimes they're exhausted, and sometimes they're carrying so much pain that they don't even know how to put it into words. That's the part of grief many people never see, because after the funeral, the crowd gets smaller. The support becomes quieter. The visits become less frequent. The calls become less frequent, okay? And while everyone else's life is moving forward, the grieving person is still trying to figure out how to live with a loss they never wanted or thought would happen, at least at the time that it happened. This is why I want to encourage all of us to continue checking on people after the funeral, not just before the service, not just during the wake, not just the week of the burial, but after. Check on them a month later. Check on them 3 months later, okay? Check on them 6 months later. This is so important, especially showing unconditional love and support. Check on them during holidays. Check on them during birthdays. Check on them during anniversaries. Check on them when everyone else seems to have moved on. Because grief doesn't end when the funeral ends. It's really just the beginning. And in many ways, that's when another chapter of the grief truly begins. in its most authentic and raw self. This is often when prolonged grief begins to show up as time passes. This is when anxiety can show up, depression, social anxiety, isolation, sleep difficulties, anger, resentment, irritability. The list goes on and on and on of all these different behaviors. Oh my God, especially loneliness. Okay, spiritual confusion be at an all-time high, because now you're questioning your spiritual beliefs and practices and everything else. Low self-esteem could start creeping and taking place. The pain may not be visible anymore, but that doesn't mean it's gone. So show some extra love, okay? You don't have to call every day. You don't have to spend hours on the phone. But make the effort to check in. Send a text, okay? Make a phone call. Drop by for a visit if they want to be bothered. Sometimes they might not want to be bothered, but depending on the person and how your relationship is, you might have to chisel at them because you might be concerned. Invite them out for coffee. Bring them a meal. Sit with them. Listen to them. And don't always accept the good old "I'm okay" as the final answer, because most grieving people will tell you that they're okay. Not because they're okay, but because they don't want to feel like a burden. I know that feeling. I suck it all up, eat it all up, and just be broken inside. And other people are like that too. Many people who are grieving are carrying pain they never speak about. And for those of you who are grieving right now, I want you to hear this. When you find yourself alone at night, when the house feels quiet, when the tears come, when the memories come flooding in, okay? You're not alone. I truly believe that the Most High God is with you, okay? I believe that the angels are surrounding you and covering you with their wings, like you triple double wrapped in them, okay? I believe that the ancestors are praying over you, okay? And above all, God is providing that unconditional love, support, strength, comfort, guidance, protection, that you need to keep moving forward one day at a time. So if you know someone who's grieving, keep showing up, because sometimes the greatest act of love is not showing up for the funeral, it's showing up after everyone else is gone. So I hope this message finds you well. Peace and many blessings.